What is up, YouTube? It's your boy ChasmRift here, and today I got ourselves another real talk. So this story kind of happened a couple weeks ago, but I still wanted to give my 2 cents on it because, to be honest, I feel like it didn't need to be talked about, but it did grab the attention of people in the FGC. So yeah, let's talk about it because it's kind of relevant to just gaming in general. So back in June, we seen Mars, who's a Smash player. Don't know too much about Mars, but I have seen the name before. He came out and he talked about how I hope they start letting top players do early registration. I know it's top player privilege or whatever, but I'd rather see MK Leo and Light go to CEO, for example, rather than two dudes who are going to go 0-2 and ask top players for pictures afterwards. That's pretty much what he said. So the context and background behind this is that, CEO, the big fighting game tournament that goes down in Florida, they were able to actually host an event. And because of the event, they decided that, hey, we're going to have limited entry on the games. Now, I don't know exactly the reason why. I think there is a sound reason for it. You can make your own assumptions, whether it be hey, maybe they're at a smaller venue, maybe it's because with COVID they just want to play it safe, or maybe local health guidelines. Regardless of the fact, that's not important. What is important is exactly what it said right here, and that is a top player was saying that, hey, he'd rather see special treatment be given in favor of other top players as opposed to Joe Schmoes coming to the event to play. Now, you've seen a lot of people come out here and have different takes. You've seen top players like Cook and guys who goes into agreements with this, and you see guys like Little Here Guy who say hey, we're not celebrities. And it's a polarizing take, but I think most people agree that this is kind of a elitist mentality and it's a very unfair idea, and I kind of agree with that. So first things first, I want to break down is that he's saying that he hopes that top players get early registration and that he thinks this is player privilege. Well, I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but you guys already have privilege. Anybody who ever registered for a tournament, at least through Smash.gg, if you ever actually read through the registration, it'll tell you that hey, when it comes to seeding for these pools, what they try to do is they try to put people in different parameters. For example, if you're in, let's say two guys from Texas wanted to both go to, Evo, the seeding, whoever it is, whether it's a person or maybe it's computer generated, will do their best to put them in completely different pools because they don't want people from the same reason to play each other because there could be some collusion going on. Secondly, when it comes to pools, they put top players in individual ones. And if you don't know what the pool means, it's basically like a mini tournament. Everybody who registers for the big tournament, let's say it's Street Fighter, for example, they'll put people into different pools. Sometimes there may be just 8 pools of 8. Maybe there'll be 16 pools and whatnot. But when it comes to the pools at these bigger events, what they do is they put the top players based on just performance based, and they all get their own individual pools. And essentially, it's kind of you're guaranteed the top place if you're a top player. If you ever noticed that the same top 20 players in the world at the game is consistently topping at all these events, it's not just because oh, they're good. Don't get me wrong, it is because they're good. It's because, conveniently, they don't have to play each other until they get into that top 16, that top 32 area. So, in other words, they're almost guaranteed to get their cut. They're almost guaranteed to get the little payday that comes out, or maybe the points for the tour that they're on, all because of how the tournament seeding goes. And then on top of that, there's the intricate ones, where there are players who, like Wawa for Evo back in 2019, he was an up-and-coming player from, I believe, France. I could be wrong. I just know he's an up-and-coming player from Europe. I forget the exact country. I haven't played fighters in a while, so forgive me. Up-and-coming player. He did well on the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tour saga. He plays well, and he missed registration for Evo, like hundreds of other people. The thing was, he was able to actually email the tournament organizer, and he was actually given a special privilege into the tournament. Want to know why? He's a top player. There have been reports of top players being 45 minutes late to their matches. Want to know why? They're top players. Sometimes it's justified that they're playing in multiple games, so they have to run across the venue to get to them. But other times, it was just that, hey, they were sitting down eating and they didn't want to just go report to their pool. So, I don't get this whole ideology that people say that top players don't get privileges or they need anything else, because you already have privileges that other people don't. Sure, maybe there is an up-and-comer who could one day have an upset top placement. Maybe there are people out there who, when they get their first chance at competing at tournaments, they will get that special treatment after they get their name put out there. But that's not going to happen. We could go even further, like how streams. whenever there's a stream going on for video games, whether it be fighting games, whether it be Pokemon, whether it be just any eSport title, they purposely put the top players or the players with the most recognition to their names on these matches because they're trying to entertain the viewers at home. And on top of that, when it comes to that happening, you get exposure. You get new eyes set on you because maybe someone didn't watch the previous major event, but now they're watching that one. That's exposure coming to you. That's exposure coming to your name and brand, and that could easily lead towards your career as a content creator or just the top player in general. So, yeah, there's already an inequality going on. And this whole ideology of, hey, early registration, that ain't cutting it. Now, as for the whole point what he said about 0-2, well, that's a little bit of a dumbass thing to say because, well, scientifically, if you host a tournament, 25% of people who compete will go 0-2, and 50% of the tournament will go 1-2 or less. It's just how the bracket works. In a double elimination bracket, 25% of people will go 0-2. So when you start out, let's say there's 16 people in the tournament. By round 1, 8 of them are already knocked down into the losers, and then out of that 8, 4 of them are going to go 0-2, and then again, another 4 is going to go 1-2, etc., etc. So regardless of if it's top players or the Joe Schmoes, somebody's going to have to take that L and go 0-2. And 50% of the people at that event is going to have to go 1-2. So I don't get that whole idea. I get where he's coming from, whereas he wants the top players, the quality players, to get their matches in. That's what he's trying to say. But to word it the way he did, where it's like, oh, if you go 0-2, you don't deserve a placement. Newsflash, bro. Regardless of the tournament, regardless if it's just a top player invitational, somebody's have to go 0-2. It's just facts. Other than that, all I gotta say is for anybody who seen this tweet, or just the first time you've seen it now, but you've seen people, kind of want to put a unofficial barrier up for the newcomers, just, I gotta say this. If you got any interest in going to an event, if you got money saved up and you got an interest in participating in something, whether there is you want to try your skills at the game or you just want to be there just to be there, by all means go for it. Like, no matter what these type of clowns say, it is the support and love of everybody is why the games are at the level that they're at. Now, I'm not going to say like all of the clout and popularity of this game is based on the backs of those quote-unquote bad players, but a large chunk of it is. Like, if it weren't for the people at home watching or the Joe Schmoes who are going 0-2 at the event, there would be no tournaments. There would be no cash prizes. There would be no esports scene. So, just go out there and do your thing. I do got a guide I want to make, like, as more and more tournaments open up to, like, give people, like, a travel guide or things to look out for when they get out there. So, look out for that one. But, just let me know how you feel about this down below. Anybody who's ever competed at tournaments, do you agree with this ideology? Do you disagree? Or anybody just watching any of this stuff, how do you feel about this, dude? Do you think he's right? Do you think this person is wrong? Personally, I think they're just completely wrong because why are you trying to gatekeep your own communities? We're trying to all eat out here. Anyway, about to get out of here. See y'all. Bye.